Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Final score at St Mary's. Southampton 1, Everton 0. Everton gifted Southampton their first win of the Premier League season. And to be honest, this is meant to be the match reaction video, but more than that, it's going to be a bit of a ranty one, and I absolutely hate ranting, but I mean, the warning was there last week, I think, for Sean Dyche. That Fulham game was absolutely ridiculous in the way we set up at home. We've had a run of winnable games, and and the 5-game unbeaten streaks come to an end. As I said, the signs were there last week that the way he was playing wasn't working. People were calling for it, and he very, very luckily had Beto saving his bacon right at the end with that goal. But to come next week and do the exact same thing, and I said this in my video with the opposition view with Martin, it's the exact same every week. And Sue Smith was talking as well on Sky Sports a little bit about the problems that Evertonians have with Sean Dyche, and she mentioned that the style of play is a problem, and I don't necessarily agree with that. As long as the style of play gets results, I don't care. I don't care if Keane plays up front. I don't care if Beto starts, Calvert-Lewin starts, Branthwaite starts. It really doesn't bother me as long as we get the results. And today it was there again for the taking. The obvious problem is his, not just the style of play that he's using, it's his mannerisms and the constantly setting up just to get points. And I mentioned a little bit on in the opposition view that for me, Sean Dyche he's a hitman, and he's very much reminds me a bit of a minimum wage worker who isn't being paid to go on his lunch break, so we'll take every minute of it. It's the exact same idea that as long as there's any sort of inclination that we may be safe in the Premier League this season, he completely downs tools. And it feels like, I understand that the season is a long way from ending and we will get more points here and there, but in games like today when Southampton were just there for the taking for 90 minutes and we had chances and we wasted them purely because of his inability to start with two strikers or proper wingers. The wingers are so much deeper than they were when he came in. The system doesn't work anymore, and it has to change. And he seems unable to make those changes when they matter. Today, again, with 10 minutes left, he brought Branthwaite on and threw Keane up front. And I mean, it's a bit like he's playing PlayStation at times, in just trying something to see if it works, and not really knowing a plan B. And again, going back to the point that I made there with Sue Smith, Evertonians don't have a problem with the way Sean Dyche plays. They have a problem with the way that he doesn't have another way. So if that was the way that we played every week, I'd be okay with it if we lost, if he had another way for when it was going wrong, and he simply just doesn't have that. And it's really, really frustrating that we're the first team that Southampton have beaten, when Martin, the Southampton fan, was so pessimistic going into this one and appeared so down about his club. We should be capitalising on that, you know what I mean? And also, it's depressing, as well as when you look at Nottingham Forest as well, who've been in the same position as us for the last 2 seasons, doing so well. To come into this game and not take the obvious plan of, okay, Beto got the winner last week, starting from the beginning, maybe playing Dyche just off him, go for the jugular against a team like Southampton, but that just wasn't the case. We can, and I've said it again this week as well, we can play Man City, Real Madrid, Liverpool. It doesn't matter who we play, varying levels of quality in different teams. The system is exactly the same. And I fear that it might work a bit better against good teams. And it brings across this notion that Everton are a really small club and are happy to constantly stay in the division. He's constantly persistent with players that he trusts. He takes zero risks. I'm talking about the likes of Keane. I'm talking about don't get me wrong, Keane was really good today, and I'm not going to use him as a scapegoat, but Branthwaite's there. Branthwaite's done so well for us. Man United put an £80 million bid in for him. We were talking about how he was one of the best in the league last season, but now he can't get ahead of Keane purely because of the manager's stubbornness. And again, I don't want this to become a rant about any specific player, because I think the system really does fail a lot of the players. It's especially Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But, you know, Michael Keane has been in really good form, and you can argue maybe don't drop him. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't been in good form, and he keeps him in the team. Michael Keane has been on good form, but of course Branthwaite is there to come in. Beto showed something last week, doesn't get put in. Harrison, wow, I mean, how wasteful is Jack Harrison as another one of the players who just seems to have got the seal of approval from Sean Dyche and doesn't is completely safe from ever having any criticism aimed at him from the manager. So where do we go from here? I mean, they're not going to sack him. They're not going to take that decision because he's in the last year of his contract. You know, we should stay up. And for this board, it's too much of a risk to sack the manager right now. The other question is, who would you get? I don't know, but I mean, look, I think, to be honest, Blues, we're just going to have to knuckle down and deal with Sean Dyche Ball for another 6 or 7 months, because he's ruining the club's sort of, you know, the club's sort of stature, the club's what we think of an Everton side. He's the complete other way around that, and you know, there's been glimpses of it as well where other managers haven't been good enough, but really since Dyche has come in, the way he plays, it's really made Everton a bit of a laughing stock, in my opinion, because it's everyone's. I mean, I do the opposition views every week, and it's always from the opposition supporters. It's always, oh yeah, you should be okay, you should stay up this season. It's the same thing every week. So that's not what we want. We want a forward-thinking Everton side who are going to win games and challenge other teams, at least in mid-table. You know, and it's a vast difference to what we saw 10 years ago, and the club is slowly sliding off. And today was a perfect example of that, of Sean Dyche going, we can let this one go, there's others coming up. You know, if Southampton can't get a point against anyone else, then you know, we should have gone there and again gone for the jugular. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I know it's a very ranty one today, and I don't often rant on the channel, and I don't often get upset about the club on the channel, but to be honest, it just seems a little bit like a lost cause at this point. The most frustrating thing is that the smartest thing to do is to stick with them until the end of the season, unfortunately. Whereas the good thing to do would be to get somebody else in and try and get more points on the board and try and make this last season at Goodison one to remember. I just don't think it's going to be a smart decision at the minute for us, given the problems that we've had in the past few seasons. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. In terms of the players who played well today, I mean, I only listened to the game, but it sounds like Mangala had a good game. Lindstrom grew into it a little bit. Of course, there was the disallowed goal from Beto at the end, but of course, you know, that's it's very poetic how he had that warning sign last week, with Beto getting that goal in injury time after bringing him on. And this week, it was sort of as if the powers that be went, no, you're not having another one. Because he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve a slice of luck at this moment in time, because he clearly is not putting the hard yards in, like he might like to say, to to try and get us points. And I think, to be honest, at the moment, Everton Football Club is very very low on the list of his priorities. But listen, we knew what we were getting when we hired him. He's a football manager with a track record. He's just not for me, unfortunately. And yeah, I think we're going to have to stay with him for now until the end of the season. But as far as I'm concerned, Everton are going nowhere under the current regime. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Toffee Blues, and I'll see you in the next one.